All right, let's talk about a simple but seriously powerful rule that could totally change how you think about your money. This isn't about being restrictive. It's all about getting clear on where your money's going. Let's dive in. Does this feel familiar? You know, the paycheck hits your account and then, poof, it just seems to vanish. And by the end of the month, you're left scratching your head wondering, wait, where did all that go? It's a super common feeling, but guess what? There's a really simple way to fix it. And that fix is called the 50-30-20 rule. I know, don't worry, this isn't about getting bogged down in crazy spreadsheets or pinching every last penny. It's just a simple, straightforward framework to help you finally understand your spending and start telling your money what to do. So, what is it really? Well, simply put, the 50-30-20 rule is a guideline for splitting up your after-tax income, that's the money that actually lands in your bank account, into just 3 easy-to-remember categories.
Here's how it breaks down. The idea is that 50% of your take-home pay goes towards your needs, 30% goes to your wants, and that last 20% is for savings and debt. It sounds simple, right? But the real magic is in understanding what actually fits into each of these buckets. So let's take a closer look.
First up, let's talk about the biggest slice of the pie. Yep, a full 50% is meant for your needs. These are the absolute non-negotiables. They're the foundation of your entire budget.
Now, here's the most important part. How do we actually define a need? The rule of thumb is pretty clear. If going without it would cause a major problem in your life, if you truly can't live without it, then it's a need. We're not talking about a small inconvenience. We're talking about fundamental stuff.
This category covers all the basics you have to pay for just to live and work. You know, things like groceries, your rent or mortgage payment, health insurance, and your utility bills like electricity and internet. You get these covered, and you've built a really stable financial foundation for yourself.
Okay, next up, let's get to the fun part.
This is the 30% you can set aside for your wants. This is the part of your budget for everything that makes life more enjoyable, but isn't, strictly necessary for survival.
So what's a want, exactly? Well, it's something you could live without. Sure, it might be a bit of a bummer to skip it, and it definitely adds to your quality of life, but if it disappeared tomorrow, your world wouldn't fall apart.
This is where you'll find stuff like going out to eat, buying new clothes just because, your hobbies, all those streaming subscriptions, that awesome new grill for the backyard, a total want. And let's be real, this is the category where most of us tend to lose track of our spending.
This slide really lays it out perfectly. A need is essential. A want is nice to have. And honestly, understanding this difference and being really honest with yourself about it is the absolute key to making this whole system work for you.
And finally, we've arrived at the last, and I would argue the most powerful part of this rule.
The final 20%. Now, it might seem like the smallest slice, but you should not underestimate it for a second. This 20% is all about setting yourself up for the future. It has 3 main jobs: building a financial safety net, getting you out of debt, and paving the way for a comfortable retirement. Okay, your number 1 priority for this money, before anything else, is to build an emergency fund. Think of this as your personal safety net for when life does what it does and throws a curveball at you, like a surprise car repair or losing your job. This is what keeps a really bad day from turning into a total financial disaster. So what's the goal here? Well, you're aiming to have between 6 and 12 months of your essential living expenses saved up. I know, it sounds like a big number, but getting there gives you a sense of security and peace of mind that you just can't put a price on.
Once you've got that solid emergency fund in place, it is time to go on the attack. It's time to smash your debt. We're talking about focusing on that high-interest stuff like credit cards or personal loans, the kind of debt that's actively costing you money every single month. This 20% is your ticket to getting free from.
So you have the framework: 50 for needs, 30 for wants, and 20 for your future. But how do you actually make this happen? Well, the key to success all comes down to one simple, non-negotiable step.
So what's the secret? You have to track your spending. I know, it sounds like a chore, but it's so true that you can't manage what you don't measure. You might think you have a pretty good idea of your finances, but I promise, until you see it all laid out in black and white, you might be really surprised where your money is actually going.
So here's your first step, your call to action. Just for 1 month, track every single dollar you spend. You can use an app, a spreadsheet, a simple notebook, whatever works for you. This is the only way to get a truly clear picture of your habits and see how your spending really stacks up against that 50-30-20 framework.
Look, this rule isn't about restriction. It's about awareness. It's about being intentional. It gives you the power to tell your money where to go, instead of just wondering where it went. So, now that you have the framework, there's really only one question left. Which category are you going to look at first?